Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It, and it's finally here. The film we've all been waiting for, The New Mutants, the film that's belonged to Fox slash Disney slash 20th Century Studios, to whoever actually wants to put their name on it to release this thing. The New Mutants from director Josh Boone is finally out, and I'm going to give you my thoughts right after the jump. Real quick, if you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Now, here are my thoughts. So I sort of have to separate my experience from the movie for this. So let's start off with this. I'm still in Los Angeles, and so the theaters are still closed. So the only way that we could actually see this film is doing the drive-in. And I haven't been to a drive-in in ages, but Disney slash Fox has made a deal with the Rose Bowl, which isn't that far away from where I live, to do a drive-in experience for 2 weeks for the New Mutants. It's kind of the ability to watch a brand new film on a big screen. Now, something that I clamor for. I don't feel comfortable going back to theaters, but I do feel comfortable. I do still want and crave the need to see new media on a big screen. As much as I like watching stuff at home and on TV, you can't really recreate that experience. So I jumped at the bit, even though I wasn't that enamored or did not have that much of a desire to see this film. It was some new content that I could see on the big screen, and I was all amped. So, got my ticket, drove in, and had a wonderful time. It was handled well. The drive-in was great. I haven't done drive-in in ages. It felt good to do that. It felt good to. The weather was nice enough to have the windows rolled down. They were doing social distancing. The bathrooms and everything was handled well. I loved the experience. I got to bring in my own snacks and bring my own drinks. It was just a good all around time. I think they handled that well, and it was good to finally, for some type of new content, see it in the way that it was intended to be seen. That said, let's talk about the film. New Mutants is a movie that has gone through a lot. It was supposed to come out almost a year and a half ago. Was delayed, asked to have reshoots done that never actually took place. Josh Boone, the director, said, "Nope, I stand by what I did." It became a little bit difficult to get a bunch of TV stars to have their schedules coalesce at the same time to actually shoot anything, so they never really got to the reshoots, and this film is what he intended to be. I know this thing went through some scripting issues. Fox slash Disney started taking some characters back away. I know the original script had Professor X in it. It had Storm being the warden of the facility. But all in all, the idea of I want to put a horror film on the table as a mutant experiment, as a mutant movie, it's here. It's not done to a great degree. It's weird because this isn't a film that I love or a film that I hate. It's very middle of the road. It's very meh. It is. It exists. I like Anna Taylor Joy as Magic's Rasputin, Ilyana Rasputin. She does a great job. The rest of the characters are very stereotypical of what a teen angst drama is. This movie feels a lot like The Breakfast Club for mutants, but doesn't really have any of the heart or story or charisma of any of those actors slash characters or teens, if you will. Maisie Williams is good. She's probably the best actor of the bunch, but she also has a super thick accent that some of the emotional weight of that it's lost. But this neither feels like a mutant film nor feels like it's even a superhero movie. It's just in this weird world where, like, yeah, they're doing some magic things, and I love the different approach to it. I think comic book movies should take different genres and do all of that stuff. I just don't think this is executed that well. It leaves a lot to be desired, and like it's a movie that tries to build to a resolution that doesn't really have that much of a payoff. And you kind of just sit there like, oh, man, this is fine, this is fine. But the experience of seeing it in the theater was better than the actual film. And I don't know if that weighs more on it or not. I know that there was some issues with the one of the creators, Bob McLeod, one his name being spelled. I don't know how you do that when this movie's being been in post production for years, but having his name spelled incorrectly, that's disrespectful. I know there's been some issues with whitewashing of characters and all of that. I unfortunately don't have that much of a connection to the New Mutants to say what is or what should not be. I think the spelling is one thing that should be done. But outside of these characters, outside of Magic, I don't really know any of the other characters that well as far as the X-Men lore, so I'm not that connected. But I do know that there are some connections with Magneto that's supposed to be a part of this. They had some hints of Essex, which is Mr. Sinister's. All of that happened, and I think they sort of, in the middle of production or right before production, sort of were gutted. And this is what they were left with, which just feels like a lot like a TV pilot to a very interesting, probably canceled within one season CW or show, or in this case it would be Hulu. I've seen shows like Runaways is a much better version of this with teens and all of that than whatever we get here. And I know the director has since deleted his Instagram. I don't want to throw hate at him, but I just think this was a film that the concept or the conceit of what he was trying to do was much bigger and better than what we actually got on screen, which sucks because this is the last hurrah of what was a very mixed bag with the X-Men universe with Fox Studios. We've got some good moments with X-Men 1 and X-Men 2, and for me, I love First Class, and then of some of the Wolverines, specifically Logan, Deadpool, but then you have a lot that's on the other side. The first Wolverine, X-Men Origins, X-Men 3. I'm not a huge Days of Future Past fan, so for me, it's on the bad side, but I know a lot of people love that film, but Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix are just terrible movies, so it's been a mixed bag, and this is sort of the sucky part of this, that this is the last hurrah for what those films were. Between this and Dark Phoenix is a terrible way to sort of go out on what started off as sort of being the originator of what the modern superhero, real world, tangible world feels like. They've had a long roller coaster, and it sucks that this is the way that it goes out. But I do think that because this is the way that it goes out, we'll see eventually. I don't know if it'll be anytime soon because I think the X-Men have sort of been a part of the zeitgeist for so long that they may need to let it rest a little bit. But Marvel eventually will get back on the train for the mutants, and I think we'll see them in some form or fashion in the future, just nothing like what we've gotten here. But those are my thoughts. New Mutants, when you put it on my scale, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm a bit out of practice. When you put it on my scale of once is enough, give me a time stone so I never have to see this again, or play it again, Sam. This falls in the once is enough. Like, I'll never think about this film again. I'll never talk about this film again other than right now. I like Anna Taylor-Joy, but there's no way to pull her out and put her in some of the Marvel stuff, even though she does teleport and you can travel her. I just think there's no way to cleanly do that without bringing in anybody else. So I think it's just time to just do a hard reset and let all this stuff die. But those are my thoughts. Have you guys seen it? If you're going to the theaters, I'm curious to see how your theaters are being run, how things are being handled. If you're doing a drive-in like I did, if you're able, please let me know, and let me know what your experience was there. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI, or you can email us at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name that is on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. This week, we're going to talk about the other new release of the week, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and we'll give you our thoughts on that podcast and all that good stuff there, okay? For the first time, I can say this. Like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.